Alrighty, here we go. This is one of many reasons why I think balkanization probably won't happen, but you know what? I'm still going to push for it regardless. The reason is this. While the US dollar has some sort of power, whether it's the petrodollar or the actual US dollar, they're going to hold on to the power of that. And they're going to pretend like it actually means something. It's why black nationalists, people like Tariq Nasheed push for tangibles. They'll also push for land, but they'll push for tangibles and reparations. They'll push for that more so than an actual independent country. Because I think that Tariq Nasheed is smart enough to know that these African nations can't even take care of themselves. But that's a whole other racial issue probably. But this is why they don't want it. They'll say, fuck America. It's the same thing with, like Rajava. I'm listening to Vosh, of course, talking about Afghanistan being it's so sad. Oh, we never had an exit strategy. It's like, yeah, people have been talking about this since day fucking one. But it's like, yeah, neocons can cope all day about the Taliban. Guess what? We were there for 20 years. It's like we went into Abbottabad to take out Osama bin Laden. Okay? So it's like, bruh, we had plenty of time to try to take out the rest of, the Taliban and their leaders in Pakistan. But nobody wanted to do it. Or they were pushed back or whatever, right? Maybe it was, you blame Obama, blame Trump, blame whoever you want to. But the thing is, though, keep coping. The Taliban is coming back. And this is something that has happened over and over with the United States. The United States has a crap record in terms of liberation. They have a crap record. Vietnam, I mean, I guess you could claim that South Korea is a success technically, but the thing is they have lower birth rates now, and you have a country where it's just absolutely fucked in terms of education, jobs, everything. Like I said, it completely fucked. I don't care. Yeah. Vietnam. I already said Vietnam, but Vietnam, of course, failing to hold back the Viet Cong, and then of course once the Viet Cong kind of dissipated by the 1970s, the NVA had enough support, and they came all the way down to Saigon. What other country do you want to point out? I mean, the U.S. has a horrible track record. Same thing. I mean, you could even point to Germany as well. I mean, ultimately, the Germans, I would just, well, you know what? I'm not going to go Nordicist. Don't worry. But the thing is, you have all these ex-Nazis that were in there, right? So it's like, But I guess that's pragmatism, and people, I've seen these neocons say, oh, well, it was because of Prussia. Prussia was so bad. And I guess forcing, millions of Germans, in a forced, relocation is okay, I guess. I don't know. I guess it is. Anywho, I'm getting off topic, and probably people, I'm sure that my analysis is probably lacking immensely, but I don't care. The thing is that balkanization is only staved off, I think, by finances. That's all it is. I think that the only thing that is keeping the U.S. together is the U.S. dollar. Once the U.S. dollar collapses, which I do believe it will, like I said, lefties have talked about this as well, and I think, even, now, Wignats and whatnot are waking up to this. But once the U.S. dollar collapses, It's the end of the United States. Because there's no cultural center in the United States. There's no cultural areas. We've allowed capitalism to destroy much of the culture, quote unquote, of this country. Because I think people are really scared because they know that there's no leader currently that can legitimately hold that much legitimate power in this country. It's only, like I say, people don't love Biden. I would say libs don't love Biden. The left doesn't love Biden either. They'll say, well, he's just there to get rid of Trump. And they have made excuses for him, this and that. They don't show his speeches. They don't show him, stammering his way through. And of course, they'll just say, oh, but he has dyslexia. Oh, it's like, come on, man. The guy's slurring his words. But the thing is, though, that's why people are afraid of that. Because they know once the U.S. balkanizes, it's the beginning of the end. It really is. At least for the West. And honestly, I don't care about the idea of the West anymore. People can cope all day and say, well, this is what the West actually means. It doesn't mean Christianity, whatnot. It actually means the Enlightenment. Who cares? Let it break apart. I honestly believe that at this point. Let it break apart. What is really holding us together? I've repeated this question before, and I'll say it here again. What is really holding this country together? What? What is holding it together? The only thing I think is the almighty dollar. And the idea that everything is pretty much the same. So if you go, like I said, let's say for hotels. So you stay at a Best Western here, built around the same time. It's going to be the same as going to a Best Western somewhere else. If you go to a McDonald's let's say in Portland, Oregon, just randomly. I was going to say something in California, but let's say in Portland, Oregon, it's going to be the same quarter pounder with cheese that you're going to get in Biloxi, Mississippi. It's that standardized sort of comfort that's like, oh, everyone knows it, right? Now, of course, some folks will say, but I want the local flavor, this and that. And yeah, to a point, the local flavor exists. And I've talked about localism. I do think that localism and regionalism, I think, will come back in some form. It won't be the exact same thing as it was, and it will be more artificial. But I do think that will be better than the completely artificial and the completely forced by advertising nonsense that we see right now as a continuous United States, But I do think that the U.S. dollar is the only thing that keeps us united. We see, I think people just wish, oh, well, I wish everyone would just rise up. Rise up. We need to rise up. The reason they won't is because they still have jobs. They still have mortgages. They still have things that are holding them back. Now, of course, that's part of it. And some of that is cope. That's part of it. Another part of it is that they don't want to pay for, travel and everything else, right? And they also maybe have the idealistic view that somehow the United States is going to rise above it and the American nation is going to survive. I don't care about that. I really don't. I don't believe the United States was ever one thing. We give the image, the appearance that it is, but it was never like that. There were always deals and everything else that occurred, I don't know. I just feel that, to a point, balkanization is only stemmed away because they want to hold on to the image that the United States is somehow this beacon of freedom, when in reality, it's not even a beacon of freedom for the people who were born in this country. So how is it going to be a beacon of freedom for? That's why, they still talk about, of course, oh, well, we respect refugees and whatnot. Of course, the thing is, if those refugees had, believed in, Islam and wanted to, create a new caliphate and whatnot, and I know that's more of an Ottoman Empire thing, and I know it's probably not likely, but it's like, well, we don't like that. Or if they had more, traditionalist views and they didn't really care for the LGBTQ movement, which I imagine folks from, Mexico on down, I believe that they don't really care for homosexuality, whether it's through their overall Catholic beliefs or whether it comes from, their traditional indigenous beliefs. But I imagine that they don't care for homosexuality either. So this idea, like I said, this is why it's so at odds, in my opinion, where it's like, we support refugees coming in, but we also support the LGBTQ movement. It's just like, that's at odds. You are at odds, where you're going to have people. It's like, if you think white folks are bad, if you think white folks or, foundational Black Americans don't like homosexuality, wait until, the refugees start to come in. And wait until the folks from these other countries come in. And they start to fight back and are not merely your little pawns who are going to do whatever you say. I don't know, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I think that, I'll say it this way, is that if we want to oversimplify things, the right wing sees people as an army, as a potential for an army, and the left sees people as pawns, where they are merely pawns in a game to keep delicate power balances in play, where it's like, we're going to have refugees here, but we're going to give certain elements here, maybe that's schizo. I don't care at this point, though. But just to come back to the original point, as much as people will claim, oh, American imperialism is so bad, oh, but Russian imperialism and Chinese imperialism are bad too, and Iranian imperialism is bad, so it's just like, they don't realize that it's just like, there are only so many power bases in the world, and there are only so many places that you can go to get sponsorship, so to speak, to get money. So they could go to, so it's like, okay, you're holding this mythical view where it's just like, U.S. imperialism is bad. It's like, okay, but Russian imperialism, they don't realize it's like, oh, so you're going to say in lip service that, yeah, U.S. imperialism is bad, but then we'll support the U.S. in trying to defend these ideas. Once again, hollow beliefs, absolutely hollow. All praise the American dollar. All praise the value, the perceived value of the American dollar as it continues to become worthless, in my opinion. When the U.S. dollar becomes worthless, only then will the U.S. break apart. And I believe that day is coming. They can play all the tricks that they want to, that they have done by manipulating. Well, the Federal Reserve isn't completely controlled, but the Federal Reserve will use all the tricks that they can. The Congress can, manipulate things as much as they want to, change interest rates as much as they want to. But I believe the inevitability is that the U.S. dollar will crash, just the same way as the German mark did in the 1920s. Just as, the currency in Zimbabwe. What is this currency in Zimbabwe? Let me make sure. Because I don't think it's the pound, is it? Is it called the pound? Let me see here. Zimbabwe currency. What? Oh, it is a dollar. Okay, it is a dollar. Oh, okay. Zimbabwean dollar. Okay. Subunit 1. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm curious. What is the let me see here. Zimbabwe currency to US dollar. Oh my goodness. How bad is the inflation on this? Oh man. Okay. So 1,000 Zimbabwe dollars is equal to $2.76 in US dollars. 500 Zimbabwe dollars equal to $1.38. 100 Zimbabwe dollars, 28 cents. 50 Zimbabwe dollars, 14 cents. Now, like I say, I think, but I'm going to try to be realistic though. This is why, to a point, people are going to co-opt cryptocurrency. They're going to co-opt this paperless money. You know, this money that's all in the cloud and everything else like that. I think that is what is going to be the future, where you don't really own anything, this and that. I think we're done with this video. See you later. Goodbye.